Okay, let me guess. You want to start posting and you decide, like, okay, every time I'm opening LinkedIn and there's a million thoughts that are running in your mind. I'm not a founder, I'm not a CTO, I don't know how to write content, I'm not a good content writer. Like, what do I even start, right? Like, even before you open anything, any kind of content piece, your brain is going blank. So you're like, I don't do anything special, I don't do anything, different. What should I talk about? I just do my job. So, okay, I understand. And trust me when I say this, you already have content, you just don't realize. So, if you're in any role for that matter, if you are a product manager, you're an engineering manager, you're a data analyst, you are a QA, you are a data engineer, you are a security analyst, or even an HR for that matter, you already have content. It's just that you don't realize you have that. Hey, I'm Namita and I have around 15 years of experience in tech, and today I am trying to roll a gazillion of these small air dry clay balls for my daughter's project work, which is basically crazy because she is in pre-nursery. But yeah, hang with me while I make content for you guys while doing multitasking, because mom life. So let's talk about the most interesting piece of content that comes out, right? Like, it's not from influencers, it's not from people who are really great at, tech or whatsoever. It's coming from normal people like you and me, right? So, but you're in tech and you don't know what to do. So I'm going to make it easy for you guys. I'm going to make it really simple. So I'm going to talk about a few ways that you can start posting online content and in any kind of platform you wish to start out with. And let's see how you guys kind of start your content journey, and I'll be on the sidelines cheering you up. So let's make it really simple. If you are in tech and you're wondering what to post, here's what you can do immediately, and this is your blueprint. Number one, you can post about what you're learning right now. So, for example, you're a developer and you're trying to learn something new, like maybe the newest AI technology or the newest coding language that you have out there, and you just spent 3 hours trying to debug something that was easily, turned out to be just like maybe a missing semicolon in your piece of code. That's what you learned about assumptions. So post about that. If you are a PM, you can talk about how you've handled difficult stakeholder questions, or how you would work with different updates. What is expectation setting? Yeah. And if you're an analyst, like be a business analyst, data analyst, any kind of analyst for that matter, the hardest part that you face, right? Maybe it's not about the dashboards, it's about asking the right question. Yes. So that's content, my dear friends. That's not something that everybody is sailing or knowing things about. So if you are facing any kind of issues and you think that this is pretty common, everybody will know this, newsflash, nobody does. It's fine, you talk about it. There will be people who might have differing opinions, but when you post about it, that becomes a piece of content, and that you don't need 10 years of authority to post on that. You just are going to tell what you're learning this week. Number two, post about problems that you might have solved. So, for example, when you're working in a company, when you're working in a particular sprint, you might have to work on multiple different problems, and you might be facing some very, very simple, silly problems as well, right? So, that friction point becomes your piece of content. So, what you can do is, instead of saying, hey, we did an amazing sprint this time, go team, go, and all of that, instead of that, kind of say, okay, we were missing deadlines, and this is what we do to fix it. This is what we did to fix it. So you have different ways of things that you would have done, which might feel very trivial, but they are areas that your other people in tech are actually looking forward to learn from, right? So this is a piece of content that you can post, and you're not just posting any kind of noise, okay? So you're posting the way you think, the way you would solve, and this thinking out loud builds credibility. Idea number three, post BTS. And I'm not talking about my favorite boy band here, BTS, Sarange, but then, yeah, it's behind the scenes reality. Like, tech world looks very fancy and it looks very glamorous, right? But in reality, it's so much more different, right? There are sleepless nights, there are production debugging that's happening at 11 p.m. your time. On There's also scope creep, there is stakeholder chaos, there is everybody who has a different opinion. Nobody's on the same page. Yeah, talk about that. People want to know real stuff. People like talking about real stuff. So that's content right there. Next idea you can post about is talking about your career decisions. Now, trust me when I say this is very powerful. Okay, so why do you want to switch your role? You're a technical guy. Why are you moving into non-technical roles? You're a non-technical person. How are you moving into technical roles? How are you using technology to your advantage? Why did you move from being a developer to a PM right now? Why did you stay in the same company for 7 years? And that's a question I get asked quite a lot. And yeah, piece of content right there, right? So these are decisions that you have taken, and these decisions are similar for every kind of person, right? So it'll help people think of this like, your neighboring aunties, they ask you hundreds of questions, or your kids, right? They ask you hundreds of questions, right? Like, why did you do this, why did you do that? They're genuinely interested. People are genuinely interested in the decisions you made. So when you share your reasoning, it showcases that you're building authority over why I've made a particular decision, instead of just saying, oh, I just got the chance. Instead of saying that, tell your story. And that, my dear friends, is authority without actually flexing. Post idea number 5, post frameworks that you actually use, not something you copied from Twitter, or is it Twitter anymore? It's X. So not something you posted from X or you copied from Threads, or a piece of content you saw on Instagram. 5 ways to be productive, 5 ways to be successful. Nobody's interested in that, right? So you post this. Okay, these are the things that I ask, or these are the 5 questions I ask before freezing a requirement doc. As a PM, before committing to a deadline, I ensure that these 2 things are taken care of. These are some of the content that people are actually interested in. It's an area where you're showing how you think, right? So, and that's very powerful. And you don't need to be a senior to do that, right? Like, you can be a fresher who's just learning, and you're just sharing your expertise there. And this is one of the areas that I feel should be called out. Is there are many people in tech that are working very quietly without actually talking about the interesting work they do, right? Not everyone can become Sam Altman, not everyone can become Elon Musk or whoever it is in the big leagues without actually talking about what you've done. Most people in tech are actually doing great work and amazing work invisibly. And there is a difference between being invisible and being visible, and that is documentation. Now, if you can explain something to a teammate, and you can post about it, if you can solve a problem, you can talk about it. If you think your manager is going to be judging you, trust me, you're wrong. And this is coming from an engineering manager who, by all means, wants her team members to be more visible, right? So if anything, thought visibility is very clever positioning, right? And it's thoughtful positioning for that matter. So if you're in tech and you're stuck to post on what to post, you can start here. What did I learn this week? Start talking about what you would have learned. Something fancy, something non-fancy, something completely fundamental. It's fine. Talk about it. And if you want to talk about problem you solved this week, what did you solve? How did you solve it? What was the thought behind the solution you gave? Right? What decision did you make? Did you have to choose a legacy system over something brand new? Did you have to say no AI to something that was more, can be done in-house? Were you able to move ahead with a lot of, ambiguity? How did you navigate that ambiguity? We want to know, right? So was there a mistake you did? Oh, people love judging. And if you are somebody who's made a mistake and you want to talk about it, that's going to garner a lot of attention, my dear friends. So you can talk about that. What systems you use? Are you a person who likes jotting things down, or are you a person who multitasks? Somebody like me, right? So try to document everything. You don't need to be perfect, you don't need to be fancy, you just need to be present. Okay, and I say this with a lot of love, and I say this with a lot of I know people are going to come at me, but I'm going to be really honest here. Personal branding is not really difficult. It's just you being you, and in all your glory. So if you are somebody who is making content now, right now I'm sitting on the floor of my bedroom and I'm making these air dry clay balls for my daughter's project, using an air dry clay here that I just have for that I have bought. So this is multitasking at its highest level. I'm trying to film content, I'm trying to make these things, and I'm trying to ensure that I get it done in 15 minutes so that I can go put snacks for my kids. Multitasking at its finest. And this raw relatability is something that everybody looks forward to. Nobody can afford to be fancy and real. Now, let me be really honest. As a person in tech, I know how difficult it is to become a content creator. I know how difficult it is to ensure you're creating content, or the content that you're creating makes sense. Yes. So trust me, just pick a topic and be as authentic and real as you can, and watch the internet kind of support you in your wild dream of becoming a good content creator. You don't need to be fancy. I don't have all the fancy setup. Okay, I'm filming from my phone, I'm filming on my bedroom floor, and I just have a tripod, and that's what I am using at the moment. So that is what you need to get started. So just pick one topic, write like 5 to 6 lines on it, and post. Don't overthink, just post. And that's about it. So if this video has helped you in any form or format, please consider subscribing for more no cringe, no bullshit kind of talking in this kind of a setting, in a more real, authentic setting. And if you are in tech, and if you are in any role that you would like to start posting today, comment your role and I'll try to spin up like 3 custom content ideas that you can start to start your content journey. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.